Hi, let's talk about real estate agents getting found online. SEO for real estate. So getting found online is one of the most, for real estate agents, is really hard to do. It's one of the most competitive industries online. And so it can be really tough. So I'm going to give you the information that you need to know in order to get found by your prospects and get new clients. If you put the work in, right? And so what's important is to start with knowing what the right things are to do, because there's a lot of misinformation out there. So this video is dedicated to real estate agents, real estate brokers, who want to get found online. If that's not you, then this probably isn't useful for you. So stick around if you're an agent and you want to get found online. Okay. So this video is going to be divided into 3 sections. First, I'm going to tell you what are the things you can do to set it and forget it. You do them once and you don't really need to remember how to do them again. So that's going to be the first section. The second section is going to be on really common mistakes that real estate agents make in SEO. And then the third section is I'm going to give you content ideas. So I'm going to give you ideas that you can use to create content on your website so that you can attract qualified prospects. Okay. Now you might be wondering, Emily, I'm Emily Journey, and how do I know that you know? Like, how do you know what you're talking about? How do I know I can trust you? So I've been a website developer for 11 years. I work with all kinds of established business owners and companies, medium, small, large, and as well as real estate agents and brokers. And I've had many conversations. I've trained real estate agents. And so 11 years I've been working on this. So let's go ahead and dive in and start with what are some things you can set it and forget it. Okay, so first thing you can set and forget is your SSL certificate. So make sure your website has an SSL certificate. It's secure. You're going to have a real hard time ranking on Google search engines if your site is not considered secure. So an SSL certificate for your website used to be optional. It's not anymore. And this may be a basic thing that most of you probably already have in place. You're going to find in this video I have some basic SEO suggestions as well as some more advanced SEO ideas for you. So make sure you have that SSL certificate, and it should be free. So you used to have to pay for an SSL certificate. Most reputable hosting companies provide you with a free SSL certificate. If you're paying for an SSL certificate, you need to look for another hosting company. So, okay, second thing, mobile friendly. Your website needs to be mobile friendly. Once your website is developed, built in a mobile friendly fashion, you're good to go. You don't have to keep thinking about that. And most websites are, but if you're still one of those people that you don't have a mobile responsive website that looks good on phones, then that's a foundational thing that you need to take care of, because you will not show up in search if your site is not mobile friendly. And then the last thing that's super important, but you can set it and forget it pretty much, is your Google business profile. If you set that up and you fill it out completely, then it's going to work for you. So set up your Google business profile. A Google business profile is free, and Google has step-by-step instructions to walk you through the process, and this will allow for a map location to show up. So for a lot of agents, that's going to be your home address, right? So that's kind of part of the deal, is that people know where you live if you're a real estate agent. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean that people can show up on your front doorstep. So Google will give you options for setting up your Google business profile so that it's communicated clearly, how you do business. You're going to have control over that. Your phone number will be on there, and there will be a link to your website from your Google business profile. And then you'll also show up on Google maps when people are looking for real estate agent near me, right? So, okay, so those are the set it and forget it items. Okay, so now let's talk about mistakes. So this is the fun part. I love mistakes. I make them all the time. So a great way to learn. So one really common mistake is spending your energy, your time posting your listings. So you'll see that on social media and really focusing a lot of energy on posting listings on your website. And so I want you to know that's not going to help you with search engine optimization. It's not going to help you get found online. And now what that does help you with is it doesn't help sell the house either. But it does help you with giving your client the impression that you're working hard on their behalf. That's not search engine optimization. Don't get that confused with search engine optimization. It uses your time, your energy, and it may not be the most value. And sometimes you just need to have a conversation with your client to help them understand what does work on their behalf, what's really effective, and it's not going to be a listing on your website. So, but if you do, if you just make an informed decision about how you spend your time and what you do for your clients. So that's not really the most effective way well, it's not effective at all when it comes to SEO. So for some of you, that's worth doing, right? So that's your decision, but not SEO. Okay. Another mistake, using Wix or Squarespace or Weebly for your website platforms. So the websites that show up on page one, on page one of Google search results are WordPress websites. So if you're using a Squarespace website, it's probably beautiful, but it's also probably not showing up unless someone is searching for your name specifically, right? So, and that's not SEO. So what you want to do is make sure you're using a WordPress website, and a WordPress website is going to have the best chance of ranking high in Google search, whereas platforms like Squarespace, Wix, Weebly are not, you're not going to find those websites ranking very high. And there just aren't the tools available on those platforms. It's pretty restrictive. There are not enough tools. Let's put it that way. So they'll advertise that they have SEO tools, but they're not enough tools to really make an impact, especially for real estate agents. And you need the best you can get in this competitive industry. So that's a mistake, thinking that you don't have to use WordPress. So, okay. So here's another mistake, relying on your brokerage's website or if there's a franchise, relying on the free website that comes with your agreement, or your license, and feeling like that's good enough, right? So if you think that's good enough to show up online, to be found by prospects, then that you're mistaken. So now that's enough for some people, because that they don't really get, some agents, they don't get their business online by being found online. They get their business as a result of other activities. Maybe they've been in the industry for a long time. Maybe they have another career that kind of feeds into their real estate business. But you don't want to rely on just what your brokerage is offering you for SEO, marketing, promotion. You want to take advantage of those tools, but not for your SEO website. The other thing that you want to think about too is your own brand, right? So this is, as a real estate agent, this is your business. And so it's really important to build your brand. And so your website should be your name, or the name of your group or partnership, however your own personal brand is set up as a real estate agent. And so a lot of agents will have their name, will be their domain name, their website, or their name let's say your name is Jamie Silverman, and so that'll be Jamie Silverman Real Estate.com or something like that. And so that's, so the brokerage has their website, but you have your website that you can promote, put your valuable SEO content on, and build your own brand as an individual or a partnership or a group, whatever you have going on there. So also, what doesn't work for domains, so here's another mistake. Let's say you're a real estate agent in Seattle, and instead of naming your domain after your name, your personal brand, instead registering the domain name SeattleRealEstateAgent.com. So that used to work a long time ago, maybe 20 years ago. Doesn't work anymore, hasn't worked for a long time. So don't try and do something fancy like that, because it doesn't work. So lean into your personal brand. Okay, so that was like an extra mistake I added. So okay, so now the juicy part of this video. What kind of content should you be putting on your website so that it can get found when your prospects are searching online? Of course, they don't know you exist before they're searching. They don't know your name, so they're not typing your name. They just are having, they have questions, and you want to be the one to show up as the person answering those questions, or the person with the best answer, because there's going to be competing answers. You're not going to be the only one providing an answer. So, but if you're willing to invest the time in this, it will pay off. So don't quit too soon if you get discouraged. Okay, so let's talk about some low-hanging fruit. First, content. For anyone who doesn't understand the word content. So content is you hear it talked about all the time. It's kind of inside baseball. So the word content refers to articles, videos, and images on your website. So when you're creating content, and it could also be like social media posts on your social media platform, or videos on your YouTube channel, right? So when you're talking about content on your website, we're talking about the photos, the images, videos that you have embedded on your website, and all of the articles and all of the text on the website. So that's content. And if you've ever worked with an SEO company that doesn't create content for you, then they're not doing SEO. So the majority of the work in SEO is the content that you create. So if you're ever wondering, well, what's that SEO company doing for me? Well, they better be creating content for you that can be published on your website, or they're not really doing anything for you. The flip side of that is sometimes an SEO agency will work in such a way as they give you the strategy, they give you the plan, they tell you what content to create, and then you go forth and create it. So it's more collaborative. That's the way my company works. And so you create it, you have control of the publishing of the content, but you have a partner in SEO to guide you, to give you the strategy. So that's a rare approach, but sometimes you'll find that. Most of the time what you're finding is companies will charge you thousands of dollars a month to do virtually nothing. and then the relationship doesn't last long because you're not getting results, because there's no content being made on your website, or very little content being made on your website. No accountability. So that's what content is. Okay, so with real estate agents, residential real estate is what I'm talking about specifically, but you can transfer some of this to commercial real estate. Okay, so some of the low-hanging fruit is with people who are relocating. So if someone lives in a neighborhood and they're moving and they're looking to buy or sell a house to buy a house in their neighborhood, chances are they're not going to do a search for a real estate agent online. And so what you're going to want to go after when it comes to attracting people online is people who are relocating from another city, because they don't know anyone. And they're going to start with a search, a Google search. And so that's where the low hanging fruit is. That's who you want to target, with your, website, is people relocating to the state, to the neighborhood, that you, are working in. So let's use an example. Let's say let's say I'm a real estate agent and I'm relocating from, no, redo. Okay, cut that. I'm a buyer and I'm relocating from Nashville to Columbus, Ohio, and I don't know anything about Columbus, Ohio. So I'm going to sit down and I'm going to do a Google search. And so one of the first things I'll probably search is neighborhoods, right? So I'm going to type into Google. So if I'm moving from Nashville to Columbus, I'm going to type into Google, neighborhoods in Columbus, Ohio. And I might add an adjective to it, right? So what are the neighborhoods? So I might use like family-friendly neighborhoods or something like that. Neighborhoods near something, maybe neighborhoods near Children's Hospital. Maybe I got a job at Children's Hospital. So neighborhoods near Children's Hospital in Columbus, Ohio, or something like that. So you need to have that content on your website. You need to have a page on your website talking about basically outlining the neighborhoods in Columbus, Ohio. So, or whatever your city is, right? So you want to have that's the kind of like the foundation right there. So, a page that describes each of the neighborhoods, talking about schools, crime, walkability, family friendly, the things that your prospects care about, right? So, okay, so you start with the neighborhoods, and then I'm going to find, so let's say I don't even land on your website, but I do find out what the different neighborhoods are. So because before I didn't know what the neighborhoods are, now I know what the neighborhoods are, and then I'm going to do another search. So this is how people search, right? So I'm going to do another search for the different neighborhoods, right? So now you need to have an article on your website for each neighborhood, right? So you've got the neighborhood article that talks about all the neighborhoods. Then you need an article for each neighborhood, in this case, in this example, Columbus. So an article for each neighborhood. So let's say I did that neighborhood search. I found out one of the neighborhoods I might be interested in is Bexley. So Bexley, Ohio. It's like a neighborhood suburb that's part of Columbus, right? So then I'm going to search, housing market in Bexley, Ohio, or I might search homes for sale in Bexley, Ohio. You need to have an article with that title, right? So, and it needs to have all that same information that you had on that other page, things about, are there parts of it that are more walkable than others? Is it family friendly? What are the schools like? What's the crime rate like? So you're going to, this is what you're going to write about in the article, and it's going to be all about Bexley. So then you're going to repeat that for all the other neighborhoods, right? So we're kind of creating this long list of articles and content, and because you have that content that people are looking for, that's what's going to show up in search results, right? So that's key, is having the neighborhood information for people who are relocating, and as many questions. So as you come up with new questions, I talked about Bexley. So here's another you want to come up with variations and write new articles. So here's another variation. So I was talking about Bexley, about, neighborhood, I might talk about, what to know about Bexley or relocating to Bexley, or the housing market in Bexley. So those are all potential titles. So you can still go with that and go with like dog parks in Bexley. So you want to talk about dog parks in Bexley, restaurants in Bexley. So these are different articles. You don't want to make the mistake of, and it's easier, but it's also a mistake. So of cramming all of this information into one page or article. So because that will dilute your SEO strength, right? So that will dilute the SEO strength of that article because it'll be about too many things, right? And Google will not really know where to put it because the way people search behavior is very specific. When people do search broad, like real estate in Columbus, Ohio, then they tend to be frustrated. They get frustrated because the results are too generic, right? They're from like big companies that don't have good content, and they're just so the results are too generic. And you'll recognize this in your own search behavior. When you search for something too broad, you might end up with like a definition or, statistics or who knows what, right? And then what you do is you refine your search. You refine it by making it more specific, right? And you may do that like 3-4 times before you really drill down to getting the information that you need, click through on a website, and find the information that you're looking for. Okay, so don't make that mistake of trying to answer all the questions about the various neighborhoods in one article, and don't even try to do that. Like even when you're separating the neighborhoods that you sell homes in or help people buy homes in, when you're separating those neighborhoods, that's not even enough, right? So you want to have those articles. But it's not enough. You still want to write more articles that are even more specific. So it's kind of like this funnel, right, that gets narrow, right? And so each neighborhood has its own funnel. So there's the top level, the really broad topic of all the neighborhoods, right, where you can put that all in one article. But then you're going to have, for each neighborhood, it's going to funnel down to all these and get more and more specific, right? So where we're talking about people who provide lawn care or service providers in these different neighborhoods, or the best places for Indian food in a neighborhood, right? So you're the expert as the real estate agent. You're the expert on all the cool, good things about the various neighborhoods. If you're not, you need to become the expert and talk about those things in your writing. Last but not least, it is no longer possible to do well online, to rank high, get found without video. So you have to have video. So so what you're doing is, first you're writing the article maybe, and it doesn't even have to be the first thing that you do, but all of your articles should have a video in the article, not a professionally made video, but one like this, one that's imperfect, that keeps getting fuzzy. Like I think you've probably noticed that I keep going in and out of focus, and I say a lot, and I don't have my hair done perfectly, right? This is not a professionally produced video. You need to do the same thing. Get out there, get on camera, and all you need is your phone, right? Your camera phone, and you can publish it to YouTube and then embed that video into your website. So YouTube provides you with the free, simple copy-paste tool. Just copy-paste that embed into your website, and you've got a video. And you want to make a video featuring each neighborhood and embed that video in your articles, right? So if I'm making videos about Bexley, all of my Bexley articles need to have this video. So you can reuse the same video too. So you don't have to worry about anyone looking at every article on your website and seeing the same video being used, because people don't do that. Once people are on your website, yay, they've made it to your website. Now what? How do you get them to reach out to you, to want to work with you, to want to choose you? So you've kind of, the biggest hurdle is getting them to your website, right? And then you've presented yourself as an expert, in the someone who can be trusted, a resource. So then how do you get people to reach out to you? So one way is obviously you want to make it easy. You want to have a contact form that works. That's key. It's got to work. Contact form on your website, your email, your phone number, like you want the information right there. So make it easy. Invite people. So in all of your articles, there should be an invitation to reach out to you. Right? So don't forget that. Don't just provide the information and then hope they want to contact you. Invite people to contact you. I know that seems like kind of obvious that people would want to reach out to you. But it's not. It's not. So people are so used to just using websites to gather information, and then they kind of still feel like they're on their own, or maybe they're not sure if you even provide real estate services. Depends on how you write your article, right? So invite people not at the very bottom of your article, but after the first opening paragraph, right? So make it really easy. And so it's like voting. Invite people early and often in your article, right? So at the top, in the middle, at the bottom, on the sidebar, in the menu. So make it easy, and invite people to reach out to you. And then another thing that can improve your ability to actually connect with people is if you have a valuable resource about the neighborhood, a checklist, an information package that people can easily download. All they have to do is give you their email. That's called a lead magnet, and because it attracts leads. And so you want to provide a valuable resource, and don't worry about like somebody copying it or giving out all of this free valuable information that people should have to pay for first. That doesn't work anymore, that approach. So you have to give value first, and it's been that way for decades now. So don't make the mistake of holding back on the value that you have to offer to your prospects. So make a checklist or some kind of valuable resource so that people can opt in, download it. You'll have their email, and then you'll be ready to follow up with them. Hey, I saw you downloaded this resource. Let me know how it's going. Is it helping you? I'm here to help you. So you can like nurture a relationship with that person. Okay. So stay tuned for more SEO tips. This is just the beginning. Subscribe to my channel. I'm Emily Journey. I will see you later.